Hello, I'm here to show off these three engines I made. They are Stihl MS660 big bore, so they have a 56 millimeter bore and a 40 millimeter stroke. That makes them 98.5 cc. So this is very close to an actual 100 cc, you know, the YD100, which has 100 in the name. I think is more like 78 cc, which is still better than a lot of other motorized bikes, but this is like almost a true 100 cc, 98.5 cc's. Not only that, but it's ported very well. The ports are wide, and they're ported to make peak horsepower at 9,500 RPM, which is higher than most other motorized bikes. Motorized bikes will top out around 6,000-ish RPM usually. Stock, like a MS660 chainsaw, this is a chainsaw head, by the way, on a motorized bike engine. They make about 7 horsepower. Now, that alone is very good, but I think you can actually get more than 7 horsepower out of these if you put a expansion chamber on them. Also, this on a chainsaw, usually the carburetors are diaphragm carburetors, and I think there's more resistance with those. So just from the carburetor alone, you might be able to get a little more horsepower. I'm not sure though, probably negligible. So I stick a PWK 21 millimeter and I hose clamp it right here. It makes a good fit, get like a strong hose clamp. This one I'm selling with the carburetor, these two without a carburetor. Other than that, they're the same, other than the color. You can get actual Stihl carburetor if you want, and those will have a nice little fitment thing perfectly here. This works fine, but I don't know, if you want the actual Stihl carburetor, you could stick one of those on here. So for this carburetor on the bike I have, I left the pilot jet the same, and the main jet is at 100. This kit, you know, this one will come with a few extra jets. I'm gonna put the 105 in, which is the smallest one it comes with. So you might want to get a slightly smaller jet. Like 105 might be a little bit rich, but it might be fine too. And honestly, you want it to be a little on the rich side. But yeah, anyway, so all of these have a balanced crank. What I did, most people drill holes in the crank to balance them. I actually shaved away the sides. If you want to look into what balance factor is, it's pretty interesting. But basically, what a balanced crank does with a about 55% balance factor, is it reduces vibration greatly. So this takes it from like these engines from the factory have a terrible balance factor, and they vibrate like crazy. Vibration, you know, it robs you of power, but it also reduces the longevity of your engine. So it's bad all around. So balance crank is very important. These all have balance cranks. They will run smoothly. If you look at the top of these, your normal motorized bike spark plug will fit in here. I believe like NGK spark plug, whatever. It's standard. Up here, I see in some videos of people who make things like this, they put another spark plug, and this actually has the threads that are compatible with like a smaller type of spark plug. But these holes up here are not for spark plugs. Some people just put bolts in them with the same threading, but these holes are actually for decompressor valves. Decompressor valves are very useful because they let pressure out when the piston goes up when you start it. So you push this in, and then the piston is allowed to go up. It takes away the compression, then it fires, and it shoots this right back out. And that, you know, and then it has compression again. The reason that helps is because these do have a high compression. They can actually slip the clutch a little bit just when you start them up. But with this decompressor valve, not only do you not get the clutch slipping, but it's like a very easy start, and they start right up. So it's an added little bonus. You know, I see people putting spark plugs in there. You don't need 2 spark plugs in one cylinder. Usually, maybe there's some like nominal benefit to that. I'm not sure, but probably not. So those decompressor valves really do help a lot. So I've gone over carburetor, spark plug. Okay, I'll talk about the base gasket. These do all have base gaskets, meaning a gasket that goes right here that I made myself. They hold. I have one on my bike. It does fine. It's never blown. It's pretty good material. If you go around here, you can see the exhaust is square, and these bolts are wider apart than your normal motorized bike exhaust. So you have to get a little bit creative. My suggestion would be to find someone with a welder. If you have a welder, it's really easy to just drill some holes in a piece of sheet metal and then weld some type of exhaust to that. That would be my suggestion. That's what I did. If you have trouble, I'm thinking like if you really cannot find anyone to do that for you, you could also maybe just put the normal chainsaw exhaust on here, and it wouldn't be an expansion chamber, but you know, it would muffle it. You can run these without an exhaust. It's just going to be super loud and get oil everywhere. You want some type of back pressure, so yeah, just make something or find something, you know. So that is a little bit of a challenge. It is a little bit annoying with these engines, but I'd say it's worth it. Like, I'd say the amount of power you get out of these is definitely worth it. Something to keep in mind with these engines is that they don't have, like the Phantom 85, they don't have a like wrist pin bearing in the piston. There's no bearing. There's a bushing, which is a cylinder. I've had no problems with mine. I've been riding it for a long time, and I've never had an issue with that. But just keep in mind, these might not last. Like, it's not perfect, you know. They might not last quite as long as other motorized bike engines, but to be honest, they're probably going to last longer because of the balance crank and stuff. So just something to keep in mind. I want to be transparent. These have bushings, not wrist pin bearings, that can, you know, give some excess heat that's not necessarily needed, you know, unnecessary. So, but they run fine. I'll show videos of mine running, and yeah, it's caused no problems for me. And the Phantom 85 is the same. It has a bushing, not a bearing. Okay, so I hope that was comprehensive enough. I'm going to sell these on my website. I'll put a link up either on this video or in the description.